Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming back to OPM Tools Workshop. We are going to be continuing off of Workflow AI, just going deeper into detail on it, just what it can do, what it cannot do, and how it can overall improve your workflows or give you suggestions on how you can make your workflows better. All right, so what we have here is I'm just using one of the recipes that we have in our library workflows that is available to us. And in case you don't know how to get to workflows, you go to automation, you go to workflows, create workflow, and then either choose one of your workflows that is already made, or you can go to create workflow, select a recipe, and we have plenty of templates for you to use. But that is not the focus for today. Today, we are going to be talking about Workflow AI and what you can use it for. So, and just some general advanced tips. All right. So you'll be greeted with your workflow page. And if you want to access the Workflow AI, you go to the bottom left, click Workflow AI, and here is Workflow AI. Now, you'll be presented with two options, or you can type your own message. You'll be opted with describe this workflow or assist with building. What we went over last time, describe this workflow. It will basically give you a brief summary of everything that is going on within your workflow, from trigger to actions to settings, and whether or not it is in draft or publish mode at the moment. So just to give you an idea of all that, let's go with describe this workflow. As you can see, it's analyzing. And here we go, we have our answer. And before I move on, I do want to point out at the very bottom of the Workflow AI, you will see 24 out of 30 free credits remaining. You only have a limited amount of credits available to you for you to use this Workflow AI. After that, you will be prompted if you would like to upgrade. But as of right now, you are free to use it up to 30 times, ask it 30 questions essentially, and credits do reset every single day as it says. But moving on, analyzing your workflow. Certainly, this workflow is designed to handle missed calls by sending a WhatsApp follow-up message. And here we have a summary of the trigger, the delay, slight delay so that the WhatsApp bot doesn't feel like a bot. Assign a user, send a WhatsApp message, check message status. And here we have our condition and if else, where it branches off depending on the situation that it's in. And in summary, this workflow helps automate follow-up communication for missed calls, trying both WhatsApp and SMS, and keeps users informed to take further action. Pretty simple enough, gives you a nice brief summary. Now, let me try to ask, are there any internal issues with this workflow? And see how I'll answer this question, just so I can get an understanding if there are any conflicts with the actions in place and see if I can resolve them. Let's review the potential issues. Delay. The short delay between before sending a WhatsApp message is minimal, 0.2 minutes. Ensure that this timing feels natural and not too abrupt. That is a fair assessment. We don't want the delay to be too short, otherwise people might figure that it's a bot and are less likely to want to interact with it more, since people are more willing to interact with an actual person. User assignment. If the user is quote unquote is unavailable, or if there are any restrictions on user assignment, it might cause issues improperly for managing follow-ups. Okay, let's look at that. I see. Yeah, placeholder user, nice. It caught on to the fact that it might not be a real user. WhatsApp message template. Ensure the message template ID, quote unquote, is active and approved to avoid message delivery. It is able to see if the template is valid or not. Branch naming. Make sure that users who are responsible for follow-ups receive notifications promptly. Check for settings that might prevent these notifications from being seen or acknowledged. Overall, the workflow seems well structured, but it is important to test with different scenarios to ensure branches and conditions work as intended. All right, fair enough. Next, we want to see what are some suggestions for actions that we can put in place for this workflow. So let me see. Are there any suggestions for our actions to be added to this workflow? Welcome in, Lauren. Here are some few suggestions for actions you can consider adding to enhance your workflow. Add contact tab. use this action to tag contacts as missed calls so you can easily identify them. Create an update opportunity. If your missed call lead to potential business, create opportunities to track them in your sales pipeline. Okay. Send internal notifications. I believe that is also already an action in place. Yep. So as we said before, Workflow AI is in beta, so it's sometimes going to have some hiccups or might just make suggestions that don't make sense. Add notes, record details about the missed call attempt or follow-up actions and contact notes for better context, and Google Sheets integration. I didn't even know that was an action. Automatically log missed calls and follow-up actions in Google Sheet for tracking and analysis. Okay, let's see if we can add that in. Oh, actually, we don't even need to do that. So if you see at the very bottom, you will be given a list of suggested actions to add. We didn't go over this last time, but if you click on one of these actions, so let's go with the Google Sheets since I like that. You'll be able to click on that. And as you can see, there are these plus buttons that are blinking, which means it, and here's the AI's recommended place for putting it. You can click on the plus sign and it will automatically bring up the workflow action for you to set it up and as the workflow has suggested or workflow AI has suggested. So that is another way that you can enhance your workflows through workflow AI. Now I do want to ask it something a little unorthodox. What are some things that you can do besides analyzing, suggesting actions for workflows? Apart from suggesting actions for workflows, here are some things I can do. Understanding triggers and actions. Okay, repeating what I just said. Optimizing workflows and troubleshooting and best practice. Share industry best practices for setting up and managing automations effectively. Support articles, find relevant support articles to assist you with specific questions or challenges within the platform. General guidance, offer guidance on some using features. And feel free to ask for help with any of these areas, and I'll do my best to support you. Now, I do want to follow up on the support articles. Can you provide some for this workflow? Again, find specific support articles directly related to missed call and workflow automation. However, if you need help on other topics, feel free to ask for more details or assistance. Yep, I was afraid of that. Now, as I'm going to repeat again, Workflow AI is in beta, so it is not able to actually give you support articles through the Workflow AI chat. So that is another thing that needs to be fixed. But that is essentially the extent of Workflow AI. It is literally just a second perspective for your workflow, just to give you suggestions on what you can add to your workflow to better enhance it, to better organize your contacts, to better organize your leads, just so that you're not having this big jumbled up mess and you actually have a well organized workflow. Oren, was there anything that you wanted to add?
There was actually. I did want to bring up one fact about your Google Sheets. I know that's kind of cool. However, they're inside of automations. There are considered premium triggers and premium actions. In most cases, it's not a big deal because they're like pennies on a dollar. However, I personally do not like using Google Sheets because normally Google Sheets is a list of, a list of contacts. So 1,000 name list can become very pricey. So just a heads up about that. Whenever you're building automation, check to see if it's a premium action or premium trigger. Most cases, it's not going to be much. However, with Google Sheets, I personally do not recommend using it because, well, the point of a Google Sheet is have a list and each contact would trigger that action. So that's my biggest concern when it comes to that one.
And as you can see, any premium action will be marked with a crown icon.
A crown icon. But in most cases, it's not bad. It's just that specific one. Be very cautious about it. There you go. But besides that, from what I've seen so far, everything that you showed was very accurate. Were you going to show some more, or was there more that you've already showed before I hopped in?
There was more before you hopped in.
Okay, cool.
But that is really just the extent of Workflow AI. As I've said, it's literally just a second perspective just to give you suggestions on what you can add to your workflow. But if you don't have anything else to add on, I think that is just about the end of Workflow AI. Next week for February 18th, we are going to be going over Content AI. For the next 2 weeks after that, going over creating high impact content and advanced content strategies. So if you're interested in that, you can feel free to hop into the call next week on February 18th. But that would be it for today. Thank you very much. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, quick question. You said it down at the bottom, it was 30 free, like, is it 30 questions of AI that you get each day?
Yes, you get each credit is equal to one question you're able to ask for the AI.
For the AI? The only reason I was thinking that, I'm not going to probably be doing it, but if we have like Ryan in our office that wanted to start looking at some of this, the opportunities in there, he could test it out and see how it works up to 30 questions to practice around.
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
not.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% correct.
With that. Yeah. And I have another person in the networking group that's getting into automation, and, he was asking me to come in and see if he could, because I was sharing about your program, Orrin, and how, OPM was working. And it was just, I just keep thinking that people need to understand more about your product, and, more people that are more technical than me. I'm not very technical, but just, giving them an opportunity. I'm going to encourage them to start coming to the workshop so they can better understand what you guys have created. And then I just wanted to make sure that I understood that, because I've seen it in our thing, but I haven't done anything with it. So it's just good to know. And it's so, it helps you answer those questions. It seems like I ask you a lot, or you're helping me with. So it's been good to see that there. So good job.
And then if, for example, if you do have like a heavy user that likes to use AI, there are plans for that as well. Like right now, this one is example of if you're per use case.
Yeah.
However, there is like the unlimited package as well. But that's more for people that are like, for example, we have one client that's using voice AI for all their calls coming in. So they definitely needed it because that's a lot of calls.
Yeah.
But that would be a great example. So just to give you a rough idea.
No, it's good to know. It's just trying to understand, like I said, how the pricing and stuff works. So
Yeah, another thing I want to add that I completely forgot about. So after you asked a few questions from the workflow AI, let me just ask another question. We let it finish. If you see in the top right, you will see this button and it will say export chat. If you need to, very rarely you will need to, but if you click on this button, it will download a text file of the workflow AI chat so you can save it for later in case you need another reference of what was said, but you lost the chat. Also, next to it, there is a clear conversation as well.
Yeah.
All right. But thank you very much to everyone. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining. And we hope to see you next week.